I will just give you a very brief introduction to this day, and then I think the best thing to do is to introduce ourselves. We are recording this. Number one, Mervyn promised us he will do his best to make it live for the two ministers who are arriving now, sometime now, so they will see it even before Wednesday. So we will do our best. Whatever happened here, it will be available for them to watch it in their hotel, either tonight, possibly tomorrow. And we are hoping to meet them on Wednesday. This is the first thing. Now, I'm sure I have communicated this with all of you, but the initial idea was to meet them today, and they were very happy to meet you, both of them, the Minister of Education and Higher Education. But at the last moment yesterday, the day before, their visa did not arrive. So there is no way to come here. So the only way to wait for the visa to arrive, which arrived yesterday, and they left this morning, and I mean until night they said to me, yes, everything is fine. So they're supposed to almost landing now. So the ambassador said he will do his best to bring them here immediately from the airport before they go to their hotel. Inshallah, this might happen. But when I was in Sudan, just to give you the background, I met both of them. And I met the Minister of Education actually 2 times, very lengthy meeting than the higher education. And Professor محمد التوم, you know him, he's a statistician, he was the dean of the School of Maths. He's a well-respected academic. I'm sure you can read about him. I asked him, the situation of education is very, 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 I don't know what to call it. It's a real challenge. He's overwhelmed what to do. Because I think the big problem for him, if you look to the education strategy of the United Kingdom, the first block is about the teacher. The teacher is critical in making the whole process work. But in Sudan, the teacher, unfortunately, no one even talk about him now, because you're talking about a school without classrooms. You're talking about schools without toilets. So you can't talk about the teacher without even the students, they don't have room to sit in. And he said, you may have seen him in the video, he need to build, I think 64,000 or 74,000, I'm not sure, classrooms. This is what he is aware of. He need to build them physically so students can go to primary school. I have seen by myself, we have been volunteering in school in our place in Madani. There is no toilets. I know when I say these people, they didn't really get that point. There is no toilets in schools. And the school I'm referring to, it used to be the top school in Madani. Madani, the second city in Sudan, is like, I don't know, like Birmingham. And many graduate from that school. There is no toilet. Wallahi al-Azim, I have seen it by myself. And I said to them, what do you mean? To the head teachers, to me, come, I tell you what I mean. So we went, all 3 toilets, they were blocked with stones and so on. And then the question, many people will say to you, don't ask where the kids do the toileting or when they want to do toilet. Because they do it anywhere outside the school. So this is a real situation. So this is what he's facing. And then the second thing, many of the classrooms, they are not like this comfortably sealed. Water can actually easily, in the rainy season, they can't stay. Most of them, we're talking about cities, not camps or outside Khartoum or Madani. So the second, what we're thinking is to help him financially. This is another thing we want to launch when he comes here, with money to help him, number one, fix the toilets, make sure all classrooms before the rainy season, they are actually closed or sealed enough so there is no leakage of water. And number 3, which is very important, you may have seen it, when kids arrive to many schools in Sudan, they can't get into the school because of flooding. They can't reach the classroom. So that's only need to be, I know the engineers, they said this can easily be done by just bringing lots of, it's just really need to build this, not really to build them or by cement, but more of just to bring, I don't know what you call it, turab, to be, terduma, what does that mean in engineering mean? Just bringing, just to, that's all what we're hoping to. So we agreed with him and we discussed with him is that we are the first people to know this, we haven't done it yet, is to launch an international appeal for education in Sudan. And that international appeal is simply to collect money by the end of February, this February, as soon as possible from all the Sudanese outside, straight to the government account under the full supervision and the disposal of the Minister of Education. So if you want to donate, we already talked to the embassy and they said that's easy. We want to talk to all embassies. They will collect this money officially through the government account, not through anything, no Sudan Knowledge or any charity. If you want to donate straight to the government account. And that money will then be consolidated by the end of February, and it will be for the disposal of the Minister of Education, whom you will see on Wednesday. And the priority, which one to go first, what to do, is up to them. We will not engage in that one. So that's what he likes, and he was very keen for Hamdouk, the Prime Minister, to also record a short supporting message. Aisha, Her Excellency in the Supreme Council, she was very supportive. So the three of them, they wanted, but we couldn't meet all of them because of the whole what was happening in that time. They went to the Guinea and so on. So the idea is to help them financially before the end of February as much as possible across the world. So what you can do in your social media, Facebook, whatever, just tell your friends once we launch this to donate. If you are in Saudi Arabia, a consultant or an engineer, just donate to the official government account. No Sudan Knowledge or no any charity or anything. Let's just all go to the government. And then the government will take it themselves and they challenge it themselves. So that's under discussion now. But this is what we think what we can do to help him with the physical infrastructure. Regarding the other issue, what he specifically said he won't help with them. Number one, he said he need people to give him ideas about how to improve the situation for students, for education in Sudan, ideas. And secondly, he said he need people who are expert on curriculum development. And that's very specific word because don't forget he is an academic, he knows what he means by that word. So for example, that word doesn't apply to me. I'm not an expert or I don't have any knowledge about curriculum development for undergraduate. But for me, if it is a university, I am, because that part of my training is how to develop a curriculum for a postgraduate. So he needs really people who will help him in curriculum development. One challenge his undersecretaries told us, they don't know whether the curriculum currently in Sudan, about this issue about how it fits and so on, this is one issue. But whether this is the right curriculum to transfer students from school to university. They don't know, and they ask for help. They don't know whether this curriculum is the right curriculum to take students to become doctors or engineers and so on. And I have met one of our volunteers. He said to me, Allam, I said to him, congratulations. He just graduated from an IT school. He said to me, Allam, shall I tell you the truth? I said, yes. He said to me, I can't see a single thing I learned from the university help me or will help me in what I'm doing. He's a YouTube blogger and he earned money from that. He has no idea what he learned from the university, he said, in terms of helping him to get a job done. So if I take this back many years ago, when I went to the Faculty of Agriculture, I remember my cousin said to me, this is in Sudan, you remember, it used to be called the Faculty of Faculties. كلية كل الكليات, كلية الزراعة على الخرطوم. Because in the Faculty of Agriculture, they teach you 45 subjects, including economics, statistics, vitamins, chemistry, everything. And I went to that school and I graduated. She was right. When I changed my career to MBA, I got, I think, B+ in my economics. Because I studied economics, the same like School of Economics. Saad al-Madani taught me economics, one of the best economists, I think, in worldwide. I studied statistics. I studied finance and so on. So I was able to progress. I was able to change my career completely. The only subject I struggled with was finance. I studied it, but not as strong as people in a finance school and so on. Now, imagine you have a student, he said to you, I have no idea what I learned. I know vitamins, I have been taught in the school vitamins and so on, genetics, all these things. But let's move from this subject. So that's what he wants help with. The third help he said he wanted, specifically, he said he wants as much as possible to explore quickly the any volunteering to help schools. So either yourself or kids, your son, your daughter, or anyone want to go and spend some time in Sudan teaching in schools, math, English, physics, whatever it is. This one we can help him in the structure. So if we will agree, I'm not an expert on how to select these volunteers. Badri is already doing that, so we want to work with him and others. But maybe we can help them in setting this online submission form. And then submission is easy. We have people can help with them, electronic submission, all that technical part. But what's important, how actually you process these submissions. How do you filter them? And I'm sure people with education, they know much better. You need to filter them, whether you get them to school, how do you qualify them. We don't want just to send people we don't know. We need to listen to people who they know this. Are these people really? Imagine you got one of our kids here, she finished, say, physics in Queen Mary. Is she the right person to go and volunteer? If yes, how she will volunteer? What do we need to check? It has to be a system. And my suggestion, that system should be really closely supervised between experts from outside and the minister is there. So it's not just, and I think it will be good. I said to Ahmed Badri, if we support his initiative, rather than we start a new one, but the idea is if we can get all the volunteering for schools through that system. So if you got your cousin in Saudi Arabia or in America said, I would like to go and volunteer, you say to him, go to this system because it's, so we will support it and let it work. So this is the 3 point. He needs 4 ideas, people expert to help him how to investigate and evaluate the current curriculum. And number 3, any ideas on volunteering. So any one of you take this into account when you have your 5 minutes here. Regarding the Ministry of Higher Education, I can tell you what I have seen before I tell you what I listened to her. The status of the universities is very poor. I know if you say this in publicly, people will say, Allam no, Hakuma, you don't break down the, what is it, it's nothing to do with the politics. This is a fact. Let's put the politics aside. Our universities are in a very poor status. There is no question. Wallahi al-Azim, if I show you senior associate professors submission to the conference which we held, you can't even explain to an associate professor a difference between a biographical note of 100 words and a CV. Wallahi, we have this problem. Wallahi, you cannot appreciate. We ask them for a high definition picture. So it will be, we tell them why we need the pictures. It's good because this is how we communicate, saying people know you and so on. Wallahi, you can't believe someone will take the picture, put it in, I don't know, he's dining, lunch or breakfast, and then he take a picture by his mobile. You can see the remaining of the dish's picture. This is the level of professionalism we have seen. I'm not against them. We are helping. This is where we can really help. Also, most of you, I think all of you, I know higher education is much easier because this was our field, but the situation is very, very, very tough. And Ahmed, and while they were teaching that last 2 weeks in the medical school, which is the best, not only in Sudan, one of the best in Africa, they can tell you when they talk, because they were there with Cambridge's team. They can tell you more about it. It's really difficult. When I met the minister, she said, yes, global ranking, now University of Khartoum is doing it, and so on and so on. Communication is very poor. You send message, oh, why you didn't tell us about this workshop, Allam? But we advertised it, but we didn't know. And then you ask, I don't want to try to mention names, so it will be, one say, I will circulate it to all University of Khartoum, and then we end up, it has been circulated, but many people didn't listen to it, didn't see it. And I said, but where did you circulate it? They said, WhatsApp. Forget about email. There is no email working there. Wallahi, I'm telling you. Anything on email, that means the same like the example, you remember in Saudi Arabia. They said if someone described, he's trying to explain to you where is his house, he said to you near that mosque on the right, that means he doesn't want you to come. Because there is many mosques on the same street. So email in Sudan, it doesn't work. And it's, in the same times, I went to University of Sudan, University of Science and Technology. جامعة السودان للعلوم والتكنولوجيا, right? Sudan University of Science and Technology. Wallahi, I was very impressed. They have 11 or 12 scientific publications. They know what is citation. They know what is ref. Wallahi al-Azim. What's his name? Bakhit. Professor is the Professor Amal Bakhit. She is head of scientific, graduate scientific division or something. They know what scientific publication, and they already subscribe to the Nigerian-based database. They know how much it costs. They know the reviewing. They're very, very much advanced. So you can see that. What I found it overwhelmingly strange. You will come to a nice room like this. This is going on in Sudan for many years, by the way. Although you tell them the most important part for me in this room is the projector and the screen. They are both important. These are the least important in Sudan. So you go, nice room, like a Turabi. They said the best lecture theater in Khartoum University is Turabi, what's his name? Dafa Allah Turabi lecture theater in the engineering. Okay, this is the best lecture theater. Very nice, far better chairs. It got space. You can have catering. Very nice, no question. But you remember, Mervyn, I'm talking English, so you remember it. Then you pick up 4 microphones, none of them is working. Battery is not working. So you're not going to enjoy that lecture, which takes 250 people. The projector, you struggle with it. The projector is broadcasting or on a wall, not. So the basic stuff, which we consider here basic for the success of this talk now, is this one. They don't understand. This is the most important part. So what they actually lacking is very basic. And I am going to launch an appeal. Anyone, academic, who's traveling to Sudan, we can coordinate this with Al-Mukhtarbil, London, they should help. He should just, if you want to donate something, buy them a very good projector for 150 or 50 pounds, and then give it to any university. So we can maybe organize this with tax people. If you go through this system, it will be a tremendous help if you donate to a university, not this big one, the small one, you know, extremely good. So that's a big problem. In all of them, they don't really have that, they don't realize the importance of this. And lastly, when we met her, I think she is overwhelmed. I think the challenge is quite a lot. And there's many issues, private, public, accreditation, auditing of universities, you don't know really. And you can see now that the degree to go through universities, many people have been promoted in the last 30 years. And we all know this. Many professors, they can't even write a paper in English. I think it's quite difficult to. I know I have met professors from Spain. They came to big university. They talk in non-English, but at least you expect them reasonably. A professor have not a single art publications outside Sudan. All his publications, I have seen one of these. Nothing wrong with the language, but it's not something usual we see. We travel all over the world. Even China, Latin America, India, not necessarily you go to a country, look to the Arab countries, they publish in English. But I have seen a professor from one university, he got the PhD, but all the publications are in Arabic and all produced in Sudan. So this is another challenge. So you have to appreciate, we don't want to criticize anyone, no, but we really need to help them. The scale is very, very serious. The good thing is, you will see her, she is very determined to help. But the scale is overwhelming. And the things I can tell you now, and this is recorded by the way, I don't hide anything. The tension between us here outside and the people inside is very high. You will be shy to say anything like this because they will immediately, oh, you live in London, this is Sussex, this is not Sussex, lots of stuff, which I don't see it when I go everywhere. I have been to Indonesia, Malaysia, Latin America, I have been everywhere. Very poor country, I've been to Tunisia. Tunisia, they don't speak in English, they speak in French. But they accept you when you talk to them. They know you know better than them in terms of research, vision, strategy, and so on. But in Sudan, the tension is very, very high. And they always have that in mind. You might come here to criticize them, you think they don't know good, and they can tell you that straight. Or you come here, you spend your holiday. Wallahi, this is a real problem. Some of them, they graduate from British American universities. They know that they are the same like us, we are not better than them, but the tension is very high. Nothing to do with any politics. If you start talking about, and Ahmed can tell you, we had a workshop like this in the University of Khartoum about strategic planning and performance improvement in higher education. They actually appreciate it, and the things we were discussing, they were very basic, but I can see from many of the professors, this is quite a lot for them to see it, how important is it, like feedback. Ahmed was talking to them about how do we learn. He was talking to them about feedback from students. Students, they will tell you very strange stories. So this is where I think you need to think about the higher education. I wouldn't take it long. The conference, we had it, was very successful. The good thing is we managed to create a platform from all places, business people. We had partners from the business people, they came, most of the businesses, they came. Engineers, government. We didn't expect even to succeed. It was oversubscribed, and I remember in 2 days, or even the people who paid money for their food from outside, we couldn't get food because there is lots of number of people in the room. So it was very successful in terms of attracting people. So I think we can build on this for next year. We had people from different institutions, from private sector, and I can tell you the most calls I received to see and meet officials, you can't believe it, is from the Ministry of Interior. I was being called 3 times, and I met the minister, but I didn't put his pictures on my Facebook because I remember there was a big row on the media about the Ministry of Interior. They have 3-4 people I met with PhDs. There's so much talk about training, capacity building, more than any other ministry I met. I'm just giving you observation. I'm not saying this is the best people, but interestingly, the Interior Ministry has been transformed. All of them, they got master's degree, the same like UAE, I remember when we met them. 2 people I met, they introduced themselves, high rank, Dr. X, Y, that, and his PhD in strategic management. And they are talking all about training, capacity building, and they told me they came here to London 3 months, blah, blah. So you can still see there are some ministries high advanced in thinking about future training and so on. So I will stop here, and I think it's better, if you need to follow this one, the videos, we expect them anytime. All the videos have been recorded. There was I'm not saying dominant, but there are lots of medical and health sector papers on the conference. And Bani, I think he will arrive, he will stop over, Professor Bani, he's stopping over, he will join us at some point today. There was lots of articles on health, public health, and there were lots of people coming from Turkey, from UK, like Wael, people from Saudi, from America, from whatever it is. So, although, despite that, I'm very pleased we had lots of good papers this year on 2 topics we have never touched before, like mining. There was a big session, I think 2 sessions on mining. Very, very good stuff on mining, mercury, all this stuff. There was very good workshop there. And also, I'm very pleased there was a very good workshop on planning and infrastructure and city planning. It is led by our colleague from Scotland called Khalid. Was fully attended by engineers, by officials, government, really well attended. And also we had a workshop the first day on health and safety, was well attended. And we heard many stories there about lots of stuff. That's another area. So I will stop here. And I think the best way, if I can pass the mic on each one of you to introduce himself for us and also for the recording. This recording, we will make sure it will really spread. And also, if you, in your introduction, tell who you are. And I think if you can narrow down at least one key or 2, 3 words about your expertise, and I can assure you, we will get this to everyone, Ministry of Interior, Agriculture, everywhere. At least what are the key words about yourself? If I will start by myself, my key words are strategic planning, leadership, knowledge management, technology transfer, and performance improvement. These are my key words.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Abdul Karim Ibrahim, and I am a senior consultant for Westminster City Council in London for community engagement and community development. I'm also a qualified primary school teacher. I don't have a presentation per se today, but I was interested in listening to what you said during your introduction about one of the schools in Sudan in terms of the facilities. So my question to you, and I found it quite shocking what you said actually, is there not a list of standard regulations that has to be met before an institution of education is opened? For example, here in this country, you have to have those facilities that you mentioned, such as toilets, such as places where to eat, and even play facilities. Does that not exist in Sudan? And if so, why have they not been met?
Well, I think this is a good question, and I think maybe the best thing to do, because we will see the minister himself, and if not, definitely on Wednesday, that will be the first question. I think he will have to address it. I think very good to give it to him, so he can actually get exactly. Yeah. There are, but they are not being followed at all. Right. Not only in education, in many things.
My name is Al-Jizuli Siddiq Mukhtar. I work with London Underground. I have an IT master degree from East London University. I specialize in management, IT, and I have a teaching practice certificate. I teach in Westminster Adult Education for 3 years. and I'm working with the community for more than 20 years.
My name is Muna Rashid Diab. I've been here for 29 years, almost. My background is graduate from economics and statistics. I have been work like 6 years at Ministries of Planning at Sudan, working in a big range of Department of Loans and Grant, working with the World Bank in the bilingual development. And here in UK, I'm working in, I changed my career to education. So I have a degree of in education, bilingual assistant, TA, and facilitated from and training for trainee. My key work is community, families and children, education and learning skills, and training for training.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. محمد شمو is professional and mechanical engineer, graduate, specialized in manufacturing and industrial engineering. I worked for most of my career in the car industry. Recently changed to oil and gas. My field of specialty is manufacturing, quality engineering. I deal with performance management, strategic planning, quality control, quality assurance. I do part-time lecturing at University of East London, and I'm here to try to help in the New Sudan.
My name is Abu Bakr Shaddad. I'm a doctor, I'm a consultant gastroenterologist and hepatologist. I can also claim that I have some experience in the academia, as I worked for 4 years as a lecturer in medicine at the National University of Ireland in Galway. I'm also affiliated with a number of charity organizations both in the UK and the Sudan, and we have some ongoing projects which with the aim to support education and training in Sudan. We all wanted to work together and kind of join hands to do projects, especially with the favorable change happening in our country in terms of political interface, which should bring more hope to develop and improve the lifestyle and education and training in every aspect of life in our country.
مرشح الحاج الصديق PhD researcher Queen Mary University in breast cancer clinical trial. الكيوردز حيكون العسل و honey and cancer research.
My name is Farida Fortune. I'm a professor at Queen Mary. My background training is in medicine and in dentistry. I'm a clinical academic. My expertise internationally is implementation of education and health projects and quality assuring them. I work in several countries in Africa, and this is really to implement both education and health, and to find local solutions and African solutions to how to manage good quality education and health and increase literacy rates.
Good afternoon. My name is Al-Bashari. I'm an endocrinologist. I work in Cambridge University Hospital. And I also, in addition to my clinical work there, I do have some hats in medical education and research. So currently I do research work in molecular endocrinology. and I also participate in some teaching for undergraduate medical students. I, together with my colleague Ahmed, who will introduce himself next, worked to introduce an international collaboration between the University of Khartoum and the University of Cambridge, particularly capitalizing on work on education and healthcare. And hopefully we'll show you some of what we've done in due course.
My name is Ahmed Ali Usman. I am a doctorate as well. My clinical training in Cambridge University Hospital. Now I'm doing my radiology training in Leeds. And I've done 1 year postgraduate degree as well in medical education. So I have sort of relation with undergraduate and medical education both here in the UK and in Sudan as well. Thanks.
I'm Mayman Idris. I've just completed my research degree at UCL in urban sustainability and resilience. My key interests are to do mostly with environmental research, but I have worked in academia for the last 3 years. I work at Imperial College, and I've worked coordinating masters and GP training. So I have some experience in education. And my keywords are really about community development, frugal innovation, knowledge transfer, and sustainable development.
My name is Saif Bashir, a graduate of University of Khartoum, Political Science, and LSC, a postgraduate. I would label myself as an expert in higher education. Currently director of Smart Education, Logistics and Training Services. Keywords: higher education, accreditation, ranking, universities ranking, KPIs in education generally.
Actually, the ideas to improve education at Sudan, we have to prepare our vision, how we want to improve the education system at Sudan by using changing in a curriculum and teachers and children, because there are the 3 cycles. We have to think about that. So our vision, it will be to improve the curriculum according to the vision of Sudan. What we need for the high education, what we need for the employee, what we need to develop Sudan as well. To explore the volunteers to help in Sudan. We have now a big generation, they graduate from England uni, and they need to go back to Sudan. And one of these things I have experience for my daughter. She want to go back to Sudan to help, to work over there. So we have to plan system, how we help them to integrate in a system, in education system in Sudan by preparing curriculum. Most of them, they have to teach in English language because they can't help in Arabic language or the other subject. So to provide them by strategy and place environment to work. The other thing, teachers. We have to think about how to train teachers to be effective teachers at Sudan. Thank you. More than 5 minutes or less?
We said about this volunteer, the minister was very keen. And our kids here, they don't speak Arabic, most of them.
Yes,
so
this is why they...
How can they help them? If they're not teaching English, if they physics, chemistry, so how can they teach them? Or how can we help them?
We can help them by to let them to work for the English particular, but the other subjects they can't find themselves.
And what is your suggestion? Shall we seek maybe other people who can speak Arabic?
Yes, I'm trying to prepare to say something because Ahmed Bedri, he has a very good and experience and view in that thing. We can try to find a formal channel to help them with the ministries of education there and high education. and try to have a training for them. Because when they left for the first time, we have to try to, like they have the cultural. My daughter, she facing that one challenging for her. When she left to Sudan, she didn't find her. Even she worked with the Care International. So very good organization, but she faced with the cultural thing, the environment. Like you said, that projectors, bins, whiteboard, they can't work in that environment until they have a money, resource to help them to work in that thing.
Maybe from your experience, and if you have been in teaching or school very long time, do you think priority now to fix these rooms first, board, bins, as you suggested, and then we try to go through curriculum, or you think they can go alongside? Because that's something we discussed.
Yeah, we have to go through all the stuffs together. Okay. The curriculum first, and build schools. Like you said, that without place we can't work. Okay. So place and curriculum, and after that they can start to find themselves and they find outside.
طيب يا بس في سؤال معلش I don't want to ask it بس لكن انا قلت يعني وانا اكثر زول فينا عندي experience في السودان مثلا اقول الوزير و he likes what you said واحمد بدري وكلكم في السودان بيقول they might claim, they will say these people they are teaching in British schools which is one of the leading country worldwide in education, blah blah blah. It's not relevant to us. How can you answer them now? You are relevant to Sudan. Do you think yourself you are relevant to school, teaching, curriculum? Do you think all your other, like you, Sarah, all of those people, how relevant do you think you are to the school?
I can be relevant.
Yes, how? Yes.
I can go back, and even when I'm left every time for a holiday, I've been with the school and my community and helped them. And every time I took curriculum from here, particularly I'm working now with the special education needs at nursery, and I have a channel like that to work with them. But my question, I can work like 5 years. My question, our generation now, how we help them to integrate in Sudan back. So if my daughter, she can go back, she can't work like me because I'm growing in that situation. Okay. If I didn't find toilet or good schools, because I'm being in a mainstream school in Sudan, yes. Not like my other sisters, they've been in the private. So my concern now to help the generation, this is the graduate people, to go back to Sudan to work. They can accept for a situation, but they need resource, financial first. Yes. They have to get a financial thing for them to start to work. Otherwise, they can tell me, how can I teach them if I haven't got pens or whiteboard or something? Because they're growing in environments like that.
So you think the priority here is to get money?
To get money first.
Money is important. And most of the teachers, they go to private teaching because they said if they do private teaching in the afternoon, they might get 6 or someone told me I get 8 million Sudanese, which is like many times than my salary at the school. Yeah. So in the school, his salary is maybe 2 million or 3 million. Yeah. In just private teaching in homes or something, he can get 8-9 million. Yeah. So that's why he ran away from early as possible, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and so on.
Yeah. Financial, because I'm a parents governor at the primary school. You know that I'm being in a finance committee. The child, it cost for in a primary school nearly 4,000 for a year. So look for 4,000 per child per school. Mm-hmm. And financial is a very important. And the curriculum, because our children or a teacher, I believe now in other curriculum, not if I'm going back to Sudan and I want to teach, I can't teach with the same thing in the which I'm growing or the same thing now, the ways of the teaching. Definitely I have a new idea, teaching, play, using the other teacher style. I have to use the 3 things because everyone has his own neat style. So definitely I will have a new idea. So financial, curriculum, ways to resource. So a lot of things they have to work all together to have good outcomes of education.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone? Yes, who want to come second? Yes. تعالي يا أحمد. If you come here, it will just be good for him to record you.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to add to what Muna said, that indeed we need more international influence. I feel the education system in Sudan is dated. I have my own experience actually. I worked for nearly 2 years with an organisation that ran young professional development, so similar to what we call graduate schemes here. And what I found was that graduates would come out of education, university, and they would have absolutely no transferable skills. They have amazing knowledge, and they seem to do their own research, so they don't base it on the books that they read. They go online, they do their own research, but they don't know how to implement it. They don't have any work skills. And I spent a lot of time just developing simple things like basic business English, things such as negotiation skills, communication skills, and all the graduates that I had about 20 graduates, they all went on to work very well, went on to do master's degrees. I'm still in touch with them, and they all come back to me, even now, 5 years later, and say, you know, just that year that I spent with you changed my life. So I think it's really important to talk about, you know, capacity building, that people can go back and support education in Sudan and develop it. It's not, what's the word? We can't give up on the education system. We just need to improve it. So there's potential for it.
I remember in Sudan, when she was with us, you are one of those, she referred to them about English, because you think your Arabic is not very good.
Yes.
How did you find that a big challenge for you? Because
at first it was a big challenge. Actually, my organisation, everything was done in English. So the IT system, everything, the training itself is in English. And we told them from the beginning that we will only speak to them in English. So all the programs, all the development will be in English. So they had to adjust. But for me, living in Sudan, yes, it's difficult. It's not easy. Everything requires you to be very patient and change who you are to adjust. Because here we live very fast-paced, we work in a fast-paced environment. But there, it's not exactly like that. It's the complete opposite, actually.
Okay.
And in terms of my Arabic, I felt that my Arabic improved, so I got some benefits out of it. I never used to be able to I never used to be confident in speaking Arabic, and now I'm more confident when I go and stay there. So there are benefits for me as well.
I don't know enough about the education system in Sudan for me to actually make a comparison or a comment.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing in very much a sort of listening and learning capacity as well. And based on what I hear from others, then that will determine how I think I could help with my experience and my expertise. Hence the very first question that I asked you, because I found that quite surprising that an education institute or facility would not even have something as basic as toilets.
As toilet, yeah.
It's pretty much standard over here. So that's something that I think is one of the priorities that we need to work on. Interesting to hear what Mona and May said before in terms of an exchange kind of program between students going to Sudan. So I'm suggesting, and people have suggested to me, that we organize some kind of Anglo-Sudanese center over there in Khartoum, where people who's lived here for a long time or born in this country can go over there and to start to engage with the local communities.
Actually, I agree definitely with Mona and May about what they say. But the main thing in education is the environment.
Okay.
If they don't have environment, you don't have any education. And as you said before, in England, the top thing is the teacher. In Sudan, the teacher is nothing now, unfortunately.
Yes.
You have to make an environment better Because now you can have a flat, the school, private school in
Yes.
Sudan.
Yes.
Just a flat, two room or 3 bedroom, they call it school. How can it be school? I'm not going to add about curriculum because Muna, she said enough. I'm going to talk about the نداء Sudan, or the call of Sudan, to fundraising to make the school better.
Yes.
I think this one is easily can be done, or already being done on a lot of cities, as you said, in Madani.
Yes.
They graduate from the school of Madani,
Yes.
they collected money and they grew their school.
For their school, yes.
And we have one in Amiria, Umdurman.
Yes.
They already have the Fourm, and they suggest they need about 1 million to improve the school. I think we can do this one easily through the WhatsApp, Facebook, and what do you call it, the media. So the new generation, they talking all about the media. You can do you always have like YouTube in your Sudanese knowledge, and you do this one. The curriculum, the only thing I'm going to talk about is the special need.
Yes.
In Sudan, there is no special need at all. In the school, in our days, people, they have problem with reading, writing. We call them, unfortunately, I'm going to use the Arabic word, is belief, or they are foolish. He's not. He haven't got the good environment. He has to be in different school, not in the main school, because he has to have special need. And he's going to graduate, not graduate, he's going to be in the street, unfortunately. The second thing, all students in Sudan, they want to study as a medical or a lawyer.
Yes.
Other than that, you are not get any education. You said Kulliyat al-Zira'a is culture of faculty, but most of the people, they don't go to it at all. If you go to Zira'a, I said, oh, you're not going to study nothing.
No future.
No future. And in fact, Sudan is an agricultural country. We have 1 million. We need to grow things. How many medical students we graduate each year? Do we need all of them? No. Most of them, they are not having a job now. They have a rickshaw or a mjad, or
yes,
because there is no good. The working market, they don't need them. We have to have education to need what we need to build our country.
Wallahi, Jazuli, just to add to this one of the things we discussed with the minister, and he also liked the idea, which is, we said to him exactly what the Jazuli said to him: every single school in the country, therefore north, west, whatever, the graduate of that school, that's what we did in Madani in our school. The graduate of that school, they are already doing it, but if you or Hamdouk or someone really go to the TV and make a very strong, articulated talk, people will ask people to be more structured. So for accountability, for the benefit of and every single school in Sudan, despite the lack of implementation of regulation, is still associated to one local authority education system. So you already got Ministry of Education affiliate in all cities. So we said to them, these people are already doing it, but the more you make it structured through the government system, so those who are supporting, say, like our school in Madani, it could be much better if at least we have a map in the Ministry of Education. This is school in Darfur, whatever it is, the group, the contact person is Allam, his mobile number, his son, and then the group should raise to the task by making themselves more transparent, more systematic, more structured. So if I am from that village, I can help. Because I said to him, there is no way, whatever, if the Prime Minister give you all the money, he is not going to build these schools. So I think that has already been taken. This is the one I said to you, I think it's 2009. Because at that time, Cambridge, they said, and when they sent me the invitation, I thought this is a joke. But I found it is a real thing. And they were discussing, they said, do we give them knowledge and technology, or give them basic stuff, give them money to build toilets? Because this is basic, like you said, Muhammad. Wallahi, I've seen it.
I always think that you should look at what you have that is good, right, and then build on it. So going totally away from that to the toilets. So implement and removal of bucket toilets was part of the UN deliverable at 2015. And as you know, most countries in Africa didn't deliver on it. Even South Africa didn't deliver on it. And in the end, they've got a company from America to try and help them do that. So I think there's two things about toilets. That in Africa, there are not a lot of toilets, full stop. But we have a thing about toilet being European toilet. So there's cultural barriers to having European toilets. I know when they tried to implement it in India, people just wouldn't have them. So firstly we have to say, what do we mean by toilet and what should be implemented for a toilet? Because it's a basic necessity, but it might be different for different communities. And so I think that's quite important. In Ethiopia, there was a huge problem about toilets, and they actually had a national program of implementation of toilets, which were slightly different to the European model, but they did countrywide implementation. So you have to be working with people to do that. I mean, so that's the thing about toilets in schools. My other thing is, why is the literacy in Sudan 60%, and the literacy in Zimbabwe, which is much poorer, 90%? That's also a cultural barrier. And I think you have to look at what the barrier is to overcome that. The problem in Africa is that we've taken European curriculum and implemented it as though it is the best. And as he was saying, you know, you have to have African solutions for this. You need people who are farmers. Do you need to have only teach STEM subjects? Do you need people who only want to be a lawyer or a doctor? You have to be thinking about schools and things that are much more practical. A very important issue is your employability. And I think that was a fantastic program that you did, because you need to, you know, communication is the really important thing about employability. And if your students don't have that, no matter how good they are when they come out of university, they're not going to get a job. So you need to start training towards employability, and you have to go back to your schooling. And the big thing is to put governance and a framework. So I agree with you that at a national level there has to be a framework that everyone is implemented and everyone buys into. And there's governance around the school, how they work, how they implement the curriculum, at every level that needs to be implemented. I'm sure it's all there, okay, but you simply need to find what's good, and then, which there will be, and implement it. And the other thing is, we always forget it's the people. So if whether it's health or education, you're not going to get anything if you do not get buy-in from your staff. Okay, so the staff is really important. They have to have a voice. And then the students, even though we don't like it, need to have a voice as well. If you have those two things and you have strong governance structures around it, then you're going to be successful. I mean, you are successful because, you know, the Royal College of Surgeons has a very strong program with you. You have the most doctors qualifying, and most of them go abroad to the Middle East. Why is it? Why can't people don't stay at home? Why are there not more people training for what you need in Sudan? And I think if we can address those things, it's important. And use different modalities. So if you don't have a school, how expensive is it going to be to build, was it 600 schools?
He said he needs to build at least, according to the limited information he got, 64,000, I think, classrooms.
Okay. 64,000 classrooms, and literacy is 60%. Less than that in Zimbabwe, 90%. There's a whole load of other strategies you could use. You could use GPS, you could use broadband, you can use mobile broadband, or you could be teaching anywhere in the rainy season. They can go into government buildings. You know, you just move it to accommodate your society. And the model from Zimbabwe was implemented that, okay, we into school, but actually we're doing broadband here. Okay, you haven't got books, so you can have slates. Okay, you can implement that. And when I was head of school year in university, I took it. So I took the teaching out into the community, which actually formed the basis for outreach training.
Zimbabwe, you mentioned that, and I know Robert Mugabe divided opinion, but that will be part of his legacy, is that he did make education a priority. So it wasn't always 90%, and he actually got that model of improving literacy in the country from Cuba. And Cuba had, I think it was a literacy rate of like 40%, and it went from 40 to 90 in a short space of time because they made literacy a priority in the country.
Yes. Who else? Next. Anyone on the education? Maybe the volunteering? Because this volunteering, I know, is an issue because of the language. I mean, and also we know there's lots of youngest. Even we met them in Sudan, from our boys and girls who were in the march, in the uprising. All of them, went to Sudan. And I can see we can benefit from them if they can speak in Arabic. They can teach physics, chemistry, whatever it is. So any other suggestion? I give it for the
I think it's better to liaise with
Ahmed Badri program.
It's already existing and has been working for 20 years.
Yes.
As we have a say in Sudan, if you want to destroy anything, form a committee.
Yes.
It's better to working within the thing that already exists.
Wallahi, this is what Tshawari just to help you.
Idea to improve them.
And I think this is exactly what we're going to be advocating in the next 2-3 weeks. I just came very ill. But I said to Ahmed Badri, this particular task, I know you used to do it for universities, not schools, but even he responded positively, and he will do it on Wednesday. We said to him, why not we all, not us here in Sudan Knowledge of the University, all initiative to support you in what you already been doing well. Yeah. The Queen acknowledged it, and you have been doing it genuinely without any political or anything. It's a charity. Yeah. So imagine if all we support that scheme, and if all we empower people like Muna to help in the education. Because I can tell you, one said to me inside the British Council, I wouldn't mention the exact name of that initiative, but because it's sensitive. The advisor, the British Council, I mean, I'm on record now, they have an associate professor from the University of Khartoum. They employ her as a consultant for the British Council. And she said that to me inside. Mervyn was with me in the meeting. She said, there's too much of things which we think they are not relevant. And she gave me example of an education initiative they invited to attend with the minister himself. Maybe he can talk to you on Wednesday. Completely provided by people who have nothing to do with education. Education initiative, nothing, absolutely nothing, not in their profession or in their experience. Do you see what I mean? And she said to me, that's from the start. Allam doesn't fit from the start. I can understand academia from Faculty of Education, they are promoting an initiative for education. I can understand teachers like Muna and others. But from the start, she said to me, I found it very strange. But then I went, she said, to try to understand. And this is a problem I think we all face it, by the way. We are not organized, the professionals, and the one they are looking for us. While we were in Sudan, while was there, Muna and Mamai was there. Every day when I go at night to my bed, before I just look into the Facebook, I can either find or found out in the morning there was a conference. Sometimes the conference was in the same friendship hall which we were there, by another group, whether American from other country, whatever, without mentioning countries, or there is something tomorrow. We don't know about them, they don't know about us, or maybe we know about each other. So this is a big problem. The flux of us giving them, if we are not organizing it, it will be of no use. And their capacity to absorb all this is almost zero. They don't have anyone who is responsible in the ministry to listen to Allam or listen to this. There's so many flux. But I think, yes, I agree. If we can take this, the volunteering of Ahmed Badri as an example, and we apply that to all other initiatives, I think health, that will come to higher education now. So many, in Sudan, I met five groups doing with health, 5. Exclude the Cambridge one, 5. All initiated by doctors, consultants from America, from UK, whatever it is. And they are doing initiative. Imagine I am the Minister of Health and you giving me all this. I will meet Allam, okay, I take from you. And I imagine they don't have what I found with all ministers, which is very interesting. Here, when you meet a decision maker, the most important person, I have said this many times, and one day I had a picture with Cameron, what's his name, David Cameron, from a plane, when he was just getting off the plane on the, what do you call that? There was a girl, his top BA is a girl. Cameron, his top BA was a girl, a woman. She sneaked because she doesn't go through the protocol, you know, she sneaked and she ran out quickly so she can get out. And I said to them, this lady, she earned, I can't remember, 400,000 or 500,000, yes, almost $500,000. But if David Cameron turned and he said, how many schools in the UK we have, she will answer him. How many are this? Top, this is the most important people. All the ministers I met, they don't have even a single one of them. You meet them in the meeting, all the people are us from Germany, Sheikh Babikir, no one from the ministry just taking notes, all of them. And that's basic. Imagine the recording we did because we didn't have to come back to him to record. There's no one to take notes with the ministers, all of them. And you have the tea, coffee, all kind of nice juice, everything. No admin there to take notes.
So how would they retain the information?
Excellent. So this is one of their basic. But the problem, I think what we can do, there is many people told me, if we push too much of this visit, like you go and talk is better, tell them how important this basic stuff. A BA is most important than anything for a minister. Number one, he must have a BA with him writing notes and who is Allam, taking contact details, number. The basic thing I start when I learned, they said to me, don't go to any place, Allam. When I was trained in a marketing in Scotland, without leaving with the contact number. Imagine now, don't go home without having contact of all these people. Imagine you go to a ministry and you leave, no one knows where to reach you. So we will go. Anyone else on the education before we go to higher education? Safe.
Everything, everywhere, every venue, every government department, institution, you name it. But the good thing is, when I heard the nomination of Professor Muhammad Al-Amin Al-Toom as for the post of Minister of Education, I was very pleased. Why? Because Professor Muhammad Al-Amin Al-Toom is one of the very few University of Khartoum professors who has dedicated a lot of time, of his own time, in researching and publishing and writing and exploring on issues that relates to education and higher education. And that's why when in his first press conference, he stunned people by the data and information he presented to people. People expected him to talk about, we found this and the destruction here and there, but he spoke with figures, he spoke with statistics. Everybody was shocked of the reality of the situation. I'm sure we will listen to him when we see him, if we are lucky to see him on Wednesday. He will tell us about what he has found now, having spent almost 3 months in the situation. Obviously, he's going to tell us what he has seen, what he has found, and also he will tell us what he is planning to do, and probably will ask us, what do you think of this idea or this or that? and then we will have the chance to give our humble advice to him and Professor صغيرون as well. But as I said at the beginning, the assuring thing, the Ministry of Education is in good hands. Let us hope that with his knowledge, he can turn the situation, but this cannot not be easily done in isolation. The entire system is damaged, and I don't want to be pessimistic to say that the damage is beyond repair. It can be repaired, but it needs really hard work and efforts.
Improving education in Sudan is a project, is a big project, and it must be started correctly. Now, to handle a situation like this, in my view, you need to have a strategic plan. You need to have vision and mission, first of all, and then from there set your strategic plan. It's no good to work in isolation or isolated islands. I know people like yourself, Professor Allam, other people, where everybody trying to work, but everybody is working maybe with a different group that doesn't know what the other group is doing. So we working systematically using strategic plan is the way forward. The benefit of this is you channel all the efforts in one direction. You use your resources wisely. You avoid the duplication of work and wasting of resources and conflict of interests. So this is the benefit of working systematically through strategic plan. From your strategic plan, you identify what needs to be done. It could be more than just a curriculum and ideas and volunteers. It could be many other things that need to be done. So working through a strategic plan help you to identify what needs to be done. And then the next stage is to evaluate the current situation and identify the gap. Yeah. Before acting and setting what need to be your actions, obviously, you need to look into the gap and find out what need to be done. And then, before acting, you try to use your what's knowledge available to you. Like we're talking about here, using benchmarking is one of the tools that could be very helpful here. Look around you, see what countries have been through this situation, what they did, try to use their knowledge and what they gain, because sometimes you do not need to reinvent the wheel. Many problems in this life could have been already sorted by other people, so you need to use that experience. You need to use the experts. We're talking about, we mentioned some names of people who has good knowledge in this country and other countries. Yeah, and then these are the resources you can use and the volunteers. So to me, this is the critical for improving education in Sudan. It needs to be, the task needs to be started right, it needs to be planned well. We need to have a framework to help us to get where we want to be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. Wallahi, this is very good, important point, and let me use it now so we will not come back, because I want to say the proposal I gave to 4 or 5 ministers, and I would like to show it with you, maybe you can expand it. Maybe the European Union, just because the European Union, every commissioner will appoint advisory group. Every commissioner. Let's take the commissioner is the minister. But to avoid that, I said to him, to avoid all this, Your Excellency ministers, choose them on a very simple criteria. They have knowledge and expertise on the task you want. So if you want for engineering, you need to get the engineers who got good knowledge on strategy and planning, not very good architect, whatever it is. They're not going to help you. The same like in academia. Not every academic can help you with the policy of the institutions, but any academic, he can tell you how to write or to do a curriculum development. Any academic, because that's part of his training. The same thing for doctors. Not all doctors, they understand the policy, they understand the surgeon, whatever it is. So the best thing, every ministry to have an advisory committee publicly, transparently announced, give them 4 weeks, everyone can submit, you submit, I submit, anyone from Saudi, anyone, and then to be evaluated by completely independent bodies. So you can find friends like Farida, long experience in advising government. You need 2-3 people in each field, completely independent. We can find hundreds, American, British, so just independent. They will say to you, out of these 200 experts submitted, these are the best 10, based on our knowledge. And then these 10, empower them. What I mean by that, like you said, Muna can go, and I can go, you go, all of you, like while all the people, they went there. But you need to empower them. Number one, by announcing them publicly to the public. Those are the people I selected to help the Ministry of Education. And I'm giving you example. I was advising in the European Commission. They leave the list for many years. This was 2006. And if you click, I think the link might be there. Maybe I lost the link. I don't know. But if you click, you still find the list of the people. So no one from the UK will say, why did you choose Allam? They will say to him, there are many better than Allam, but at least Allam was at that time good enough to do the task we want. We were 2 of us. But that doesn't mean we are the 2 best in the whole UK to advise the international scientific. You have to choose people at the end. But to look for, this comes to me through Allam, this comes through, it will not work. That's the big problem. If we don't solve it right now, I think the government cannot do anything. Investment, education, health, waste management, everything. They have to do it quickly. The problem which I found in these 3 weeks, you don't know how to challenge this discussion to whom. Do you give it to the Prime Minister? The minister themselves, they are struggling to reach Prime Minister. I'm sorry to say this in record, yes. He tried to contact the Prime Minister for 2 days. He couldn't get through to him. Imagine a minister can't reach a Prime Minister. Whom to challenge this through Al-Hurriya or Taghyir, I don't know. Who really can listen to this and understand this is the only way to advise government? And I remember at Sussex, we had a colleague of mine, his title is a professor, he was telling us the science of advising government. Advising government is a science, people. So this is, I think, if we all work on this one, I think it will help. Let's all people across the world come together, filter them, and probably in the engineering you have 5 categories. One of this category is those who have a good knowledge on policy. And then when it comes to structural engineering, maybe to implementation, there's another people. And that's what I tried. I discussed this with many engineers when I was there from Qatar and so on. And I said to them, engineers, I am not engineer, but engineers, there are different categories. Some of them, for example, if I need to advise in medical education, there are people who are doing medical education. They are teaching medical education. They are much more relevant than other, for example, experts. So I think this is a very good point, Muhammad. Wallahi, what I want, if we can, at least through these 2 ministers, and I think there's the lady who we're going to watch today, director of investment. She is in town, I think. Today she had a talk. If we can challenge it through 3-4 ministries, I have the contact to the Ministry of Interior, so they can build advisory board on real advising or advisory experience, and then they can take it forward. And then you make this committee public, transparent. They are not getting paid. They just travel. They meet every 3 months, and they will help the minister. But everyone, we stick to them, and every new initiative will go through them. I think that will help. Now, I think we need to go to the higher education.
Right. I tell you the story behind this. I was working on a research about manufacturing and the industry in Sudan. I came back from Sudan last week. And one of the outcomes of this research and investigation was something related to education. So let me take you through this.
as you know, in the new Sudan, we're seeking to improve our economy. And one of the ways to improve economy is through improving production, industrial and agricultural. At the moment, the situation of the industry in Sudan doesn't look great. So for us to improve in the industry or manufacturing, we need effective industrial strategy, we need efficient operation capabilities, but we also need good education. And one of the findings of this research is that manufacturing and industrialization are lacking people with industrial engineering knowledge. And this is critical. If we think about improving production, especially in the industry, we need to have people who has the knowledge to do that. So one of the findings of the research is that there is shortage of people with good knowledge of industrial engineering. I won't go through this, but just for your knowledge, when we talk about industrial engineering, we're talking about factories, the knowledge you need to run a factory efficiently. Yeah, this is just what industrial engineering is all about. So these are just examples of industrial engineering operations. Another findings, which is also found by another, it is found during my research, but also it is cited somewhere by somebody, is that there is lack of quality control in the Sudanese industry. Yeah, there is good knowledge, and this is also can be taken as an evidence that there is need for education or shortage of education in industrial engineering, because quality in general, quality control, quality assurance is one of the focus areas of industrial engineering. I won't go through these slides because obviously I've got 5 minutes. But I just skip to the most important ones. Why we need industrial engineering is this. One of the things, it makes manufacturing most profitable sector. And as we know, as you all know, that factories in Sudan in the past few years has been closing because manufacturing hasn't been a profitable business. They can't make money because of some policies and because of different things. So industrial engineering is seeking to do this. Both export of manufacturing products. So with that, we will be able to compete in an international market if we are good in that. Otherwise, we won't be able to compete. Provide competitive edge for Sudanese products in the global market, attract investment, reduce cost of living for locals, again. So this is why we think this is important. But the conclusion is this, that the Sudanese industry is lacking important principles and knowledge of industrialization and manufacturing techniques. And that due to the fact that we haven't got good education system in industrial engineering, and we need that. Recommendation is the Ministry of Education, together with the Ministry of Industry, they need to work together to establish good base for industrial engineering, because this is critical for both for the economy and for the industry. And the other recommendation is that the Industrial Research Institute, this is the most important one, but the Industrial Research Institute in Sudan has a critical role to play in this, and that is working with the Ministry of Education to establish a curriculum, to establish a foundation for industrial engineering, and that is what needs to be done. And I hope this message will get to the right people, Ministry of Higher Education and Ministry of Industry, that we are lacking knowledge, we're lacking, there is a big gap here, and we need to do something about it. Recommendations also, if it comes to identify the curriculum, we can help on this definitely with our knowledge as being lecturing in this field, as being working for over 20 years in the industry, knowing the techniques and what need to be done and what is the gap. So that is something we can help for, but at this stage we need the message to get to the right people, and as soon as we get a green light that yes, we want to do this, we offer our help. Thank you.
So thank you very much for inviting me to Queen's Mary this morning, and it's been a pleasure as I graduated from this university a couple of years ago. So thank you very much, and I would like to talk about a project in 5 minutes, so I'll try to be very fast. As you can see in the screen, the project is titled Sudan Health Library or Sudan Learning Management System Initiative. And the running title is an innovative way to support teaching and learning in health sciences in Sudan. I'm, by the way, Dr. Abu Bakr Shaddad. I'm a consultant physician and gastroenterologist working in East London. And I thought of this project when I was working at the National University of Ireland, and this is a picture of our campus at that time. I worked there as a lecturer in medicine for 4 years. And the actual idea arose from the recent expansion over the last decade or so in the number of the health education facilities in Sudan hasn't been met with parallel support in terms of provision of educational resources and infrastructure, which created a very difficult situation for many of the students and practitioners alike. So we thought of an innovative way to try and bridge the gap and introduce an interface which could bring different parts of the Sudan in one learning hub, if you want to call it, that could provide some modern learning resources. This would also have the benefit of unifying or reducing the difference in the curriculum between different institutions around the country. And obviously it will cover the gap in the shortage and the lack of educational resources. With the old ideas in mind, in the past people used to buy books and carry them, textbooks. We know all that nobody read textbooks these days. And with the advancing technology of the internet and also the availability of a smartphone and devices which can access the internet, that create this model is a possible way to go through it. So we thought of the what you call it, VLE, Virtual Learning Environment, or LMS, whatever you like, Learning Management System. We have gone further to think of what we can provide through this to our students, researchers, and undergraduate and postgraduate students in health sciences, all health sciences, medicine, nursery, midwifery, dentistry, and all related subjects and disciplines. I'm going to skip these few slides. We had a kind of a very thorough search for different models, Blackboard was very expensive. Moodle is really affordable, and Moodle stands for Modular Object Oriented Dynamic Learning Environment. We thought Moodle would be the best model to use because it is free of charge. However, the cost of IT support, hosting, all of this security is there. And we went and we have done the, at that time we were targeting these institutions to link them out. We thought of the project funding. We got some fund initially to link up some kind of databases and resources for the education, like Oxford Handbook of Medicine series, up-to-date British BNF, and all this type of standard learning resources for health sciences, if you want. We come across a very, very generous people, actually, in different institutions around. I was in Ireland at that time, and in the UK as well, who were willing to help. And we end up by kind of developing the library itself. And actually it started, and we were testing it, but unfortunately we couldn't find the appropriate support from the end user side from Sudan, although we had to discuss this with different institutions over there, but we couldn't finally to get it into operation. So the idea is still here, and we're aiming with the new spirit in Sudan to try to revisit this option and push it forward. The final thing that I want to say, that benefit of such unifying interface would be provision of resources, creating a learning community. And the aspect of learning community is a big in the academia. Academic people know this. And linking students with the expert from inside Sudan, outside Sudan. And I think the benefit of this will be many. I almost finished what I wanted to say. Some challenges expected. People should be ready for it. Like most of our university and institutions, they don't have a very robust IT system or intranet that could securely provide access to this. And you cannot leave such big library without any kind of security system. But the long story can be started. I won't forget some people who helped me a lot during that time, our colleagues in the learning technology team in Galway, and I'm really grateful to their help. But what I can offer now, I'm ready with a lot of people who worked in the past in this project with me. I'm ready to build the interface, but we need to kind of just the management side of it, and the side which is related to Sudan has to be organized and linked, and we can seriously we can achieve this in a very short time. Thank you very much.
Have you approached any of the global servers, internet servers like Google or Microsoft, to see what they can do? I attended a conference recently hosted by Google, and they said that they've got big plans for Africa as well. So I think that would be something that you might find beneficial, to get in contact with them to see what they can do.
Excellent idea. In fact, the answer is no. We didn't go that far, but we in fact approached some of the IT companies back in Sudan, asking them only to provide free internet or Wi-Fi to small kind of hall like this in one of the hospital, Mustashfa Shab. We want to we've spoken to Zain company and asked them just if you can provide like 10 computers and a Wi-Fi free. So the students who were sitting there, or the doctors who was going there to search for something or download a
PDF or PowerPoint presentation, they can use it for free. But as you said, I think there is a good support for such projects internationally.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shaddad. Project, but I think there is is infrastructure. And for example, in my home, my call, they said, you move from this room to the other room because the internet is better. I think this is the main thing you have to face it first. And if I'm wrong, Dr. Allam can correct me. I think he initiated that the library from Sussex or Oxford for $50,000 each can access it. The problem with internet in Sudan, not the internet. The internet in general is very weak. I think there is no people can access this one. This is the first thing. The second thing, even the big organization like University of Khartoum, the dean or the head of the Khartoum, if they ask you, can you have an email, you're expecting to be .khartoum.Sudan. She give you an email, Gmail or Hotmail. I think this is the main thing. And good luck for the project.
Yes, actually, the infrastructure is weak. This is one, but also the culture is also not there. Still, people need to, but we have to. This is part of the process.
I think we should crawl before we run. So
that's right.
Actually, I think it's brilliant, and you have to rely on the young people. Whatever we think here, every kid in Africa has a phone, right? And you don't have to go through Google or one of these multinationals who immediately own all your data. You can use, I can talk to you about using satellite, okay, and with the $50 phone, all right, you can access data. So we provide satellite connections for education and health with cheap phones, okay. I know the internet, you know, even in South Africa, you're in one room and there's no internet, you go to the other room. So the coverage there isn't very good, right? And it depends on who's supplying it. But actually, if you work on satellite with cheap phones, you'll be able to do it. It's a brilliant idea, yeah. It's a brilliant idea to use a platform, okay, and use a virtual VLE, and people can take data off that.
Just to continue from that, as a company, we went through an Indian company who built the platform that we used, and the students or the trainees would access that platform. So we didn't go through a massive company like Google. We just picked a company. We went through different bids, and we picked a company from India. So there are companies out there who are not international, but or are international to Sudan, who are willing to do the work and lower the cost. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, I have an argument going on, and I even said the minister said this is not serious, but it's serious. I said to them, no progress. I mean, Tony Blair said before, no progress in our economy without science. That's Tony Blair's famous quote at Oxford. My quote, I said, this is for 4 years, no progress in Sudan economy without internet. No way the economy of Sudan will go a single inch without internet. And the agony is, internet is there in Sudan, and the level it is good enough to operate a successful country. And the proof is all the private sector. They have excellent Wi-Fi. All companies, Dal, Muroj, you go to any of these companies, the best you can communicate, Wi-Fi, everything. Universities and public sector, they are not just putting money to do it. So I requested 2 years ago, and if there is one thing, I will be happy if this minister fly on Saturday, accepting to do it, is to issue a declaration or a decree no university will be licensed without ensuring a Wi-Fi is in campus, at least on the effective parts. It's not too much, it's not very expensive. They spend too much money on other things. So if a meeting like this, I have seen it in Sudan, in a university, very poor, you will find lots of drinks, food, blah, blah, blah. All this could easily pay for 1 month's subscription to a good broadband, at least to the dean office. Yes, I calculated for them. Many years ago, I was at the University of Khartoum. The lunch was half chicken, pasta, fish, very, very big meal. I said, how much this cost? They didn't know why I'm calculating. I said, the cost of this could have paid for them to give you Wi-Fi in this building. They don't have it. You struggle. And if you see the live broadcast from the Friendship Hall, everything we did was perfect except the sound. It kept dropping because you can't do anything. The guy who was doing the live, he was 4 SIM cards from then, Kanar, whatever it is. So if this drop, the other one will take drop again. So anyway, internet, for you medical people, I mentioned like the cannula, you know, the one you did here. If you don't get this cannula, there is no way you will get one. So I think we will try to push with both of them. If they can make a case, the government, at least the government office, and Jizuli is right, minister, they give you an email, which is Yahoo or what is it, Gmail.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this invitation and thank you for the opportunity to come and present. It's always a delight to come back to Queen Mary University of London because I did my master's in clinical endocrinology here about a few years ago. So it's always a delight to come back. So my name is Al-Bashari and this is my colleague Ahmed. We worked in the University of Cambridge Clinical School and we've capitalized on a collaborative effort between the University of Khartoum Medical School and the clinical school at the University of Cambridge. And we will try and show you what we've done so far. So we've got no conflicts of interest to declare. Part of how this started was to do with the status of our institutions in Sudan. We both graduated from the same college of medical in Khartoum, and people who are interested in international institutions ranking would realize that Sudan is not doing very well, as you can see. The United Nations very latest 17 SDGs and the Times ranking system actually involves and capitalizes on the international reputation, international collaboration between institutions, and uses it as a parameter to rank universities internationally. So we thought we would help some of our institutions by this partnership. And obviously this is what we working upon, our SDG 3, which is good health. This is where we come from. We're both from the health sector, and the global partnership from SDG 17 and so on. So just a quick word on the collaborative ecosystem and how we think that this should work. From an international institution like where we are at the minute, we can help and work with in an international friendship between another institution somewhere else, Sudan as an example in this case. And once you identify the targeted institutions, then you can start by initiating visits and do subsequent visits between the two institutions, built on a medium that's welcoming for both institutions, have the manpower and resources that are from the institutions, for instance, in Cambridge, or like Professor Farida said, resources already available there in Sudan that we can capitalize on, infused staff, internet, education, soft skills, data, etc., and then publication, which should then help your cause. So in this very, very brief talk, we've divided into categories of projects that we've done in Khartoum and projects that we've done in Cambridge, and I'll let my colleague Ahmed describe to you some of the projects that we've performed in the two institutions in due course.
Thank you, Wael. So yeah, we try to capitalize on both projects on both sides in Khartoum and in Cambridge, and the main thing that we started from background of medical education, that we want to know what are the learning needs for the students first. So for all the students in University of Khartoum Medical School, we kind of kind of divided a survey to all of the students, and we got a feedback from 700 students who all kind of replied to us. We gave them a free text just to write down what do they think they need to be taught on. And we tried to analyze all these data. It looks a little bit difficult to interpret now, but we used the word clone to see what are the most kind of repetitive words that we can teach them on. As you can see that they're kind of asking us to share knowledge, medical research experience, and the most striking ones are clinical skills. So we thought how we can go back home and we can teach them on the thing they need the most as they ask us to do so. So we started by teaching them basically lectures on the things that they wanted to do, from how to study for exams, how to do undergraduate kind of sort of research basics, and how to do clinical examinations, and how to capitalize on the knowledge in the basic medical knowledge that they need. And we went to the clinical level by doing closed tutorials, and we kind of enlist the help from our friends colleagues in medical school in Cambridge, and we went there through 2 years to deliver those sort of lectures and tutorials for medical students, small group tutorials, as well as we kind of took some of the students, we went to rural areas to provide not only medical education experience, but also a charity experience for people who need the treatment the most. So we can use that as a platform to teach the medical student through a real life experience. And we collected the feedback from the student afterward through the things that the basics of knowledge in medicine, from neurological examination, taking history, communication skills with patients. So we tried to get pre and post confidence level for each category of those separate kind of things. And as you can see on the left hand side on this Likert scale, you can see the confidence level before, and in blue you can see the confidence level after, and there is a shift in the confidence level for all students. For the second leg, we selected some students from there to come to Cambridge to do a kind of educational program, a total of 6 students. We structured kind of clinical observership program for them, as well as presenting kind of in conferences for all the experience and all the research data we collected through our experience there. And we designed also sort of lectures to improve the soft skills and communication skills, and to teach them how to have a side vision, not only for the medical work, but also how to develop at a personal level. And most of all, as Weil mentioned, we tried to do all this effort in a joint kind of publication between University of Khartoum and Cambridge. And the first 5 names that you see on this publication are actually students, the youngest of them in the second year of medical school in Sudan, along with very renowned educators from Cambridge as well in the same thing. And we tried to reflect this as a model that not only used in Sudan, but in all developing countries throughout the world. And it's available not in desks in offices and things, but it's available online, and we published that so everyone can access that throughout the world. And back to Weil.
Thank you, Ahmed. So what we'd like to conclude by saying is international collaboration helps in the development of each institution, in both countries. It generates good reputation for the institution, particularly in the developing country, for instance, Sudan in this instance. And students and staff in institutions in Sudan do need opportunity. So this helps them by get them into opportunities. They've networked with visitors from the UK. It was a great experience for both sides as well. We do require enthused permanent staff to ensure the sustainability of this project. The environment setup is very, very much needed to ensure the swift delivery. Funding is very important, like everyone said from our previous colleagues. And we would want to maximize the use of available potential resources as well. I know we've run out of time already, but we'd like to show you a video of somebody who wanted to share, a YouTube blogger who wanted to share his experience with everybody. He's a graduate from University of Cambridge. He's a doctor with us, who some of you may know.
So earlier this year, me and a group of doctors from Cambridge travelled to Sudan for a medical mission trip. With a team of Sudanese doctors, healthcare professionals and medical students from Khartoum University, we set up 6 medical clinics in villages in northern Sudan. This is the Sudan Medical Adventure. Day 1, we arrive in Khartoum and head to a restaurant in the city centre.
Welcome to Sudan. This is our first day in the trip.
We've all just landed and we're having our first organisational team meeting with the rest of the doctors. Everyone say hello. We drive through the city across the River Nile to our host family's house. The Nile apparently runs the entire length of the country pretty much, so we'll be seeing it at various different points in our journey. It's very exciting. And then get demolished at FIFA by some medical students before heading to bed. Day 2, we wake at the crack of dawn and head to Khartoum University Medical School with boxes full of drugs and other medical supplies.
Alright, so this here is our box of drugs and syringes and things.
They've come from different companies. They have supported us with some financial support.
We make friends with some of the students there who treat us to some traditional Sudanese food.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, those are nice. Then we load up the bus and join the 75 students and 20 doctors, lab technicians and pharmacists and head 500 kilometers north to Meroe. So we're about halfway through the journey. We've been driving for the last 4 hours and all there is around us is just desert. After 8 hours of driving through the desert, we arrive at the resort, debrief and head to our room.
Wow, look at this. Yes, mate.
Oh, we've got a balcony as well.
Isn't that really pretty?
It's going to be a solid spot to fly the drone from tomorrow morning. Day 3 is when the fun really starts. We split up into 3 teams, each with 25 medical students and a handful of doctors and lab technicians. My team drives an hour through the desert to reach a village called Village 5. We set up our clinic at the local primary school, and for the rest of the day, the medical students see all of the patients with our team of doctors overseeing the process. Alright, so this is the school that we've been in for the past day, and here's how the patient flow works. So the patients start off in the triage area over there, and that's where they get seen by some of our doctors and some of our 4th year medical students, and they take a quick history, do their vital signs, so their pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and kind of triage them as to how urgently they need to be seen. Then, once a patient has been triaged, they get given this form and then get sent to one of the clinic rooms over there or over there. And we've been in these clinic rooms all day, just kind of seeing the patients as they come in, taking a full history, doing an examination, and then some patients just need reassurance and a bit of analgesia. They can get that from the pharmacy, which is over there. We've got a pharmacist, we've got a supply of drugs, but then some patients need further investigations. So then we send them over to our hematology and biochemistry lab that we've got set up, and that's where we can do things like a full blood count, urea electrolytes, urinalysis, fecal analysis, that sort of stuff. And then they come back to the clinic and then we sort them out based on the results of those investigations. So this is actually a pretty great setup. The medical students see the patients and talk to them in Arabic, and then when they're done, they present the case to one of the doctors and we double check the management plan. This means that overall we provide a really good, cost-effective service for patients who don't normally get to see doctors, and at the same time we're helping train up the medical students in their clinical reasoning and physical examination skills. And rather than just providing a medical and educational service, we also provide some entertainment for the local school children by busting out the drone and letting them play with it a little bit. Day 4 is our final clinical day, and so our 3 teams drive to 3 more villages in northern Sudan. Alright, so here we are in the village of Al-Bakhiq. We came here this morning, and again it's the same setup as yesterday. We now have 2 triage rooms, one for the men, one for the women, and then we've got 2 clinic rooms that they get triaged into, and then we've got our pharmacy and we've got our lab going on. Overall, it's been pretty chill today. We don't have quite as many patients as we had yesterday, so there was quite a good opportunity to teach some of the medical students. We ran through the cardiovascular, the cranial nerves, the knee examination. And these guys have been really friendly. They cooked food for us, which was very tasty.
And they're so generous, they gave us kind of brunch, different types of meat. And there's this kamonia, it's actually sheep intestines.
So, with our bellies comfortably full with sheep intestine, we drive back to the resort to debrief. We get together with the other teams, share some presentations about interesting cases that we'd all seen across the 2 days, and Roberto's team deliver a performance of a traditional Arabic song for everyone's entertainment. Alright, so it's the final day of the trip. We've done our 2 days of the medical mission, and this morning we spent a couple of hours doing some lectures for the medical students. We did a talk about research methods in medicine, and did a talk about how to prepare for exams, such as the postgraduate medical exams like the MRCP. And now we're going to spend the rest of the day just hanging out with the students and the other doctors. At the moment we're by the River Nile. Is this the River Nile? Yeah. And then we're going to head back to Khartoum, which is going to be a fun little bus journey, hopefully see some pyramids on the way, and just, have a nice social bonding experience. So that was our medical adventure in Sudan. Over the 5 days, we explored some of the beautiful landscape, we saw and treated hundreds of patients who would have otherwise had very limited access to healthcare, and we made friends with some absolutely wonderful pharmacists, technicians, medical students, and doctors along the way. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to know more about the medical mission, or if you'd like to find out more about how you can get involved with doing cool stuff like this, there's going to be a link in the video description that will give you some more information. If you like the video, please do give it a cheeky thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please consider doing so. Have a lovely day, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
I'm really happy to present to you my idea about running clinical trial in Sudan using Sudanese honey as cancer therapy. Cancer is one of the major health problems in worldwide. So according to WHO, more than 18 million new cases were diagnosed in 2018, and more than 9 million deaths occur at the same year. Here, the number of new cases and deaths in both Sudan and south of Sudan during 2018. Few years ago, I did research at the Imperial College to study the effect of honey, Sudanese honey, on the cancer cells. According to my results, I've been awarded a UK patent. 4 years ago, I started to apply honey on the cancer cells, and this is one of the clinical case study. 70-year-old woman diagnosed with the breast cancer. According to the lady, the size of the tumor was the similar size of the mango seed. She refused to take chemo, and she used only honey. After 8 weeks using honey, as you can see from the picture, the tumor disappeared. And here, comparing between two histo reports, early January 2018, when she diagnosed with breast cancer. December 2018, the report says unremarkable cells. To have a new results, we need to change our mindset, and therefore, my plan to run a clinical trial in Sudan, and for my requirements, I need approval from the government, cancer patients, Sudanese honey, blood test and X-ray to be done one every 3 or 4 months, and a fund. The duration of my clinical trial will last only for 1 year. And I hope that all of you will help me to save people's life using affordable, no side effects treatment. Thank you very much.
Women will use 70 years. How did she use it? Did she
Very good question. I developed a schedule to use 2 dosage, one early morning between 3 to 4 a.m. and the second one after during the sunset. And she applied outside as well, so she used it oral and outside. But during the 1 month with my schedule, I started with 1 tablespoon in the morning, 1 tablespoon in the evening, and then I gradually up to reach 5 tablespoons for each dosage.
Because I'm talking
Yes,
to you
yes.
because I've experienced a lot. 2 of my brother and sister with cancer, fortunately. ربنا يرحمه. If this one applies to all cancer type or just a breast cancer?
Very good question. You know, according to my hypothesis that the honey works on 2 levels, or the mechanism of treating with the honey depends on 2 levels. First, as you know, all of us, we have abnormal cells growing daily basis. But because our immune system is very strong, therefore they get rid of the abnormal cells. For the cancer patient, the immune system starts to be weak, and therefore the cancer cells start to grow until they reach the cancer as a disease. So my idea that if I return the immune system to be strong again, then the immune system is going to fight the abnormal cells like before. This is one mechanism. The second mechanism, that in the honey there are substance, the antioxidant, and as you know that the cancer cells, they just grow, they don't die. But with the antioxidant or the flavonoids, I think they are reprogram the cancer cells, and after that return it to the normal cells, and then after that it can go for normal death like the apoptosis. So yes. So to answer to your questions, that yes, I use the honey for a different type of cancer patient, and it works. Yes.
I'm sorry I missed it, but you gave the honey for different types of cancer.
Yes.
And did you look at the cellular response?
To be honest, no. For one reason, that this is my personal research. I'm the one who funded, so I need a fund to be able to answer a lot of questions. And before 2016, to be honest, I was thinking like a scientist, to follow the research method. But in 2016, one of my best friends, she died because of the breast cancer. And then, when she died, she passed away. So I said, okay, what is the benefit of my UK patent? At least, it didn't save anyone's life. So therefore, I shift my thinking from the scientist to save people's lives. Well, alhamdulillah, now a lot of patients, alhamdulillah, they're still alive. Even when they use the chemotherapy, the side effect of the chemotherapy, it reduced a lot.
So how do you use the honey?
I use the honey for my dosage. There are two, one early morning between 3 to 4 o'clock, and the after one.
Just mind to reverse this slide, please. Because I missed it as well. Sorry.
This is okay. So this is one of the clinical case study. A woman, she diagnosed with the breast cancer, and according to her, that the size of the tumor similar to the size of the mango seeds. The oncologist advised her to take a chemotherapy, but she refused, and she used only the honey. And according to her, after 8 weeks, the tumor shrank. And here, this is the two histo report. One early January 2018, and shows that she's a cancer patient. In December 2018, unremarkable cells.
The biopsy, the same area?
From the same area. Thank you.
Actually, you said that you want a resource or fund. What's your idea about fund? Because a fund either the formal resource or non-formal resource. Is it a charity? Do you have any idea about your requirement about fund or?
The requirement for the fund, I just need the money, to be able to buy the honey, to be able to run the test. I mean the blood test and X-ray, and to pay, for example, for the participant, to travel from their home to the center. So this is all what I requirement. And by the way, it's not expensive. It's very easy to do the clinical trial, because what do I need? I need cancer patient, I need the honey, and X-ray and blood test. That's it.
But you haven't got a control group.
Okay, very good. For the control group, to run the clinical trial, I'm planning to divide them to 3 groups. One like control groups, they just follow the normal treatment, and the second one, normal treatment with the honey, and then if some of the patients, they are willing to use only honey there, and we'll compare between 3 of them.
Even as a therapeutic intervention in reducing the tumor, now you can induce cancer in an animal model, and then you can see the control compared to the thing. The same idea that you see, you're planning to do it on
yes.
the clinical level.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, someone has to be the devil, yeah? But it is all in the scientific ground.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tariq Idris. Working as I have what they call it, a design company.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about the Sudan recycling, and I was a few days. I came from Sudan, and I see there are a lot of rubbish everywhere, especially in Khartoum, and now all people talking about healthy and how people to be healthy, and this is one of the important human being project actually. Everyone trying to be healthy as much as he can. So recycling in Sudan is, I cannot say zero, but it's minus. There is no any recycling company. There are just a few, but you cannot talk about them because they don't do any enough job of recycling Sudan. A few years ago, I went to Netherlands for the same project, and I was asking about recycling in Netherlands, and I went to one of the company there asking about recycling company in Netherlands. I found out only in Rotterdam there are more than 400 companies working with recycling. And what I like to do now, I just like to have support for all Sudanese in UK, in Europe, in Africa, in United States, to support our country for to clean the country. Because I don't know who was last a few months or a few years in Sudan, but the last government, they done nothing about any cleaning the country, any development for the country. So what I like to do, I was starting now a few days ago to have more information how to clean the city. Very simple. So the city is dirty. There are a program here in UK, they call it Dirty House. So they are dirty country, by the way, and dirty cities. So I'm sorry to say that, but Khartoum today is one of the dirty cities. Very dirty. Wherever you go, they put the rubbish everywhere. They don't know any education about how to use the bin for the rubbish, and they don't know anything about recycling, where to put the plastic, of the paper, of any kind of these things. So my project is how can we help Sudanese to learn how to use the bin, how to use to know about recycling, and even not the Sudanese inside Sudan, outside Sudan. But when we go outside Sudan, I think one of the important things for everyone in his house, outside the house, especially outside the house, try to put bin of 2 bin outside your house. And we need, of course, many things, like to have big cars for to take the rubbish to the recycling companies. But this is cost a lot of money, of course. But it not be like a minute of. It need times. So the 30 years, the last government, Umar al-Bashir and his group, they just put Sudan in very deep problems, and we cannot get out of it if we are not together. So from here, I just like to tell all Sudanese and all people as friend for Sudanese to support us and support each other to jump from this dirty city to be clean city. And we like to change from the rubbish everywhere to put flowers everywhere. And besides that, we need water everywhere, because in Sudan now, in Khartoum, to find water is not easy. Even we have like 3 or 4 rivers. In Khartoum, you have the river Nile and you have the White Nile, I don't know. all is Nile, and you walk in Khartoum, you cannot find water to clean yourself easy. So I was talking to some company also, they have this pump for water to take the water from the ground. So we need water everywhere in Khartoum to clean the city. And we need many stuff. I try to now to share with some friend what we need to clean the city. And this is all Sudan actually, and not all Sudan, it's all Africa by the way. But Sudan, one of the important now country for us as Sudanese to clean it, and then maybe we can jump to other countries, our neighbors of our other African country. Anyway, this is a project, and I'm not ready. Actually, I was late. I was not well because I'm not well these days. I just done my best to come here and to tell you about this. Thank you.
So I asked you this question, but let me ask you again. Why people throw stuff on the street? Is it because there is no bin, or we are not having that culture of doing it, or we just don't care? Which one of them?
This is the important things, as all people talking here about education. If you don't educate yourself, you don't get right education. You don't know what is kind of bin it is, and you don't know how to put bin outside your house. It's not important to put inside your house, because I believe every Sudanese house is very clean. But just go 3 or 4 steps from your home of 3 meters. It's disgusting. And it is about, they are very bad example, because if someone put the rubbish outside, the people continue to put the rubbish the same way. So the bad example that make us of the Sudanese keeping doing the same mistakes.
Yeah, to add to that, I think people are socialized into a way of thinking, because as you say, if everybody else is doing it, why am I going to be any different? I actually noticed a pile of rubbish outside the mosque for Salat al-Jum'ah when we went there. So I waited until the khutbah had ended, and I spoke to the imam. I said, look, there's a pile of rubbish outside the mosque. And his answer was, Sudan Kida.
Kida means this is how we are.
Yeah, we like that.
Kida, it means how this is the way we are.
I lived in Nigeria for 3 years in the late 80s, and they had a similar problem in Lagos. And the government rolled out a program to keep Lagos clean. I'll share that with you afterwards. What it was, they took a day up, it was Friday morning and Saturday morning, where there was no traffic, there was no work. For 3 hours between 9 and 12, you were responsible for cleaning your own street. They'll come and give you the tools and everything, and even including like surgical masks so you don't breathe in the chemicals or whatever it is. So they made that a community activity. It worked. The problem is they didn't sustain it, and then the government changed, the normal thing. Recycling in Sudan, I don't know. I mean, I see some street young kids going around with these bags. I don't know what they're doing with this.
They sell.
Yeah, but that's not recycling. And you said you made reference to the cities, but even outside of the cities, you'll find plastic bags just on the trees as well, and it seems to be everywhere. And something needs to be done, because it's actually destroying the environment. People are trying to do things. From what I saw, I was there recently, and they're burning the rubbish. But that was another problem in itself in terms of what's happening with the toxicity. I don't know if there's still a campaign to keep Khartoum clean. They still got whatever happened to it. I don't know. Are you part of that group or?
No, but it's the work is zero. I'm telling you, I just came like 4 days from Sudan.
Yeah.
It is the work is zero. It is no organization, no society, no government, no one work, no one care. And we was like to start doing something. And I also telling people, if we are here in UK, for example, everyone just pay £100 a year. Sudanese in UK, Sudanese in Europe, 100 euro a year, and in USA, $100 a year. Saudi Arabia and Middle East, just like 100 dirham of 100 riyal a year. Sudanese inside Sudan, 100 pound a year. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. We can change all the city. Not only Khartoum, we can change the whole city, like Madani, like Port Sudan, like Ubayid, like Fashir, Niyala, whatever cities they are in Sudan.
Thank you. This need an external fund. I think the core of the problem is responsibility and system. So the local government, they have a skeleton of staff that should do this job. They have even some private companies who's dedicated to do this job. They don't do it. Whether they have a shortage, whether they don't care, that is the question. I know the youth in Sudan, in many areas, they do their best, and I've witnessed with my eyes during the time of the rainy season, where all the roads are kind of just messy and everything. These youngsters, they do a lot of good job. They kind of try to pave the road. They can try to, do their whatever they can. So there is a very important community participation in these problems. But yet, yes, the problem is big because you need funding. You cannot compare Sudan with UK. And I think we need to go back and see what is the root of the problem. Is it because of the local council? Is it because of the local people? If it has to be something shared responsibility, and there should be some sort of disciplinary actions for these areas, because some areas are not like what you described. It is different. Not all. I haven't been there for maybe 6 months or so, but I think the problem needs to be kind of just discussed locally, and it should be possible to achieve it. But since you touched the environment, I would like to add one important point. The whole the environment as a whole, inside the city and outside, and we're having a problem with desertification and drought. Like the era of the 80s and 90s. And the major contributor to this is cutting the trees. And I have produced a short video. I don't know, I didn't put my name on it, like about 6 months ago, of people who are merchant on the charcoal industry, who goes to and film that, unfortunately, and is in the Facebook. If you type in Arabic, al-faham mustalih, you will see how those people are brutal on the trees with the electric saws. They come to an area which is like a big forest. They turn it into just an empty area. Why? Because they get this money, and there is no kind of censorship. There is no kind of accountability of what they're doing, and they're not aware even, or they don't care about the consequences on the changing of the environment and the drought and all this type of problems that will follow. Thank you very much for touching the environment. I think it is an important topic.
Okay, I'm just wise of the time because we got very limited time. Can I introduce Bani, and then maybe we can have the last few minutes if you want to talk. But there is one thing about Wallah, I think as Mali said, it's a very Wallah great thing that you're doing.
Thank
Wallah.
you. Thanks.
I have said this many times, and I would like to say it again on record. I don't think the problem of cleaning, our culture in cleaning, has nothing to do with what happened in the last 30 years. In Arabic word, nothing to do with Kazan. Why? Because when we were in the university, all university students, we were not very good in cleaning our own rooms. You remember in the university campus, I don't want to try to remember or to remind myself how was the toilets and the bathroom we use at the university campus. We are not educated at all to use this stuff. That's the core of the problem. We are not. We don't care. You remember in the room, you share the room with someone, you know, Saud, they throw it in the room in front of you. It was the most disgusting scene you will ever see. You're sharing a room with someone, either up or down, and he will just spit on the. I mean, this has been very common. So I think we need education, and this is what brings us back to what we said in 1999 when we started this organization. We said there will be no sustainable development in the whole world without education. And our model, which was published with the MIT colleague Josephine, we had education in the middle of everything, because if you don't teach them, if people are not, if you don't, no matter how much you spend money on any other thing, people will still throw the plastic bag on the street, and then you have to cover the consequence. What's happening here is education. Professor Bani, I would like to introduce you. If you also highlight, because he has just met a few days ago the American ambassador to Sudan.
Yes.
And I think you might be, if there is no confidentiality in what you have done, tell us what did you learn from there. Okay, Professor.
Thank you. I just arrived from Heathrow Airport after 2 hours from a flight from Washington, D.C. on my way to Saudi Arabia. I have 2 hats. I am currently an adjunct professor at Emory University, School of Public Health, Global Health, and at the same time a professor of community medicine in Al Ghura University in Saudi Arabia. I'm just leaving this evening. I would like to talk about my 2 initiatives and then brief you about first. The first initiative is about cyber mentoring, in which diaspora Sudanese help the Sudan youngsters and students in health sciences research. And in this initiative, which will be through the diaspora in the US and UK, including the Sudanese Association professors in the US, medics, and also UCANA, Khartoum University graduates in the US also. So they are supporting this initiative, in which we are going to recruit mentors and mentees. The mentors are scientists in UK or US, and the mentees are young scientists or young professionals who would like to publish, and also students in the health sciences professional program, whether medical student or dental or pharmacy. And I am going to start a pilot project with the Sudan Association of Professors, and to also select one of the high education institutes in Sudan as a pilot, and then we go through to implement all over and see how things goes. So this is just, and the scope is that it will be about a 2-year program in which the mentee and mentees, who will be matched together to work, starting from the ideas, the proposal, and then implementing the project, analyzing, writing a report, and publishing. So we hope within 2 years. And this can be a medical student or a graduate student or a young faculty member who didn't publish. And the deliverable will be publications and high quality research. So we hope we got the support of the Minister of Higher Education in this initiative. The other initiative is a partnership between US university and Sudan universities. I already started this initiative 2 weeks ago. I was in Khartoum and I met the Undersecretary of Higher Education, in which he asked me to work with the Faculty of Medicine Khartoum University for coordinating this initiative. The initiative is with Yale School of Public Health, in which it will partner with the 4 institutions in Sudan: Khartoum University, Nilen University, Ahfad University, and Wazirah University, and the Minister of Health through the Public Health Institute. And the main objective is to strengthen the graduate education in public health. And the program, it will be a 2 to 3 years program in which faculty from Sudan will go to the US for 3 to 4 months, in which they review the curriculum and update the curriculum. And at the same time, faculty from Yale come to Sudan to teach advanced courses in epidemiology or biostatistics or implementation science. And the visit from Yale faculty will be to Sudan in March, early March. The visit will be for 5 days, and meeting with the partner institute to at least to initiate the project. And at the same time, we are seeking funding for this project, which will take about 2 to 3 years at least. And after these 4 institutions, then we plan to expand to other institutions, because there are about 10 to 12 graduate public health programs, including community medicine master in Khartoum Medical School, and there is a board of community medicine, and there is MPH programs in Ahfad and Nilen, and also the Public Health Institute has programs. So these are the 2 initiatives. And I have a third initiative in which there will be a summer training for medical students in the US for clinical clerkship, and I'm now discussing with the Sudan Association of Professors in the US. Concerning my the meeting, I attended the briefing last week with His Excellency the Ambassador Booth, the special envoy to Sudan. The main objective was to talk to the Sudanese diaspora also about what's their role in helping Sudan, and he also briefed about the current status of Sudan-US relationship, and also there is progress, and they are very happy at what's going on in the Sudan government and the progress in the peace. And we're looking forward that there should be a great support from the diaspora in building the economy and especially providing technical assistance at this time. Thank you.
Any question?
Thank you very much, Prof. Bani. This is a great for both the first one. My questions regarding the first. So, how do what's the plan for the period you select them, and do you provide them with specific training to supervise the mentees in Sudan, and to what extent are they going to be involved in the research, and what would be the motive for the mentors to join and to continue mentoring the mentees on the long run? Thank you.
First, we are going to recruit them. It will be on voluntary basis. The mentors will start by voluntary basis, and we plan for an induction workshop, if possible, in Khartoum for the mentors, so that to work on the process of mentoring. And at the same time, I think if there is any ideas about research, the motive may be to be as part of the research team, helping in especially in publication. This will be one of the motivation. This as starting. But in the future, we may look for funding if there is funding, because some mentors, they may ask for some sort of incentive. But at the beginning, we will start by voluntary from the Sudanese diaspora, and I found some of them are really keen to help.
Any other question?
For your initiatives, just to add up about the diaspora, I think at the diaspora we need to be in one body, because now we have so many bodies around all the world working in different areas, and that's, I think, bombard the government with all ideas. By the end of the day, they will get nothing, the government and the diaspora. I think I talked to Prof. Allam before and to you as well. If we can form one umbrella for all these diaspora in America and Saudi Arabia, to be in one, speaking one voice, one word, it will be better for the government and for Sudanese people back. And like today, Allam invited us, the ministries ask us what they need. Because nowadays, everybody is advisor to Sudanese government. It can't work like that. They need to go, all professionals, they can work. They can wait for them to ask us what we need from us, not offering the advice. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think that it is the receiving end. The Sudanese government should have a body that coordinate all this. Yes. You cannot unify all these, because you have different bodies and different specialties and different. But if there is a knowledge transfer, as Prof. Allam has suggested before, to have even a body or a ministry or a very effective, this will have an impact, because all the initiative will go to one body receiving end, instead of now some people talking to different bodies in Sudan, and you have a lot of initiative going on. So we hope that we have one body in Sudan at the receiving end.
And also one on within the diaspora as well, so there'll be like a single point of contact.
Yeah.
That would help also.
Yes. So we hope like the US group and the UK group have one group.
Hopefully, yes.
I think we need to conclude. I think at time we only got 7 minutes. I think we thank you all for taking the time, because I know it's very difficult. And I would like to say a few things about Farida. Farida, thank you so much for making this room available. I mean, I know it for myself, because I failed to get a room in East London University. All the rooms they are taken by the church for Sunday. It's very difficult to have a room in a university now. It's very costly. It's very expensive. The one we used to use it for weekends, it costs £1,000. And because it's very difficult, you have to get security, you have to get IT people and so on. But Farida, very, very much, thank you very much. And I appreciate that, and I really, we are privileged to have people like you to be involved in our, if you like, national issues. And I always say this when I go to Sudan, I say to them, when someone, we say to you, this person is this and this, or this one is from Yale, like Professor Bani mentioned, please listen to that word carefully. When we say Queen Mary Medical School, we're talking about top medical school. When I say this is from Cambridge, I keep telling people in Sudan, please listen to that word carefully. When I said to you, we have people from Cambridge doing training in Khartoum. This is one of the best medical schools. May, I talked about May, I said she got 3 master's degrees, maybe you got 4, I hope you got more. UCL is one of the best urban planning, blah, blah, blah institute. So I really hope the message you really get across. We want to tell them, and this is what I hope in this dinner with the minister, and I hope you all do that. Don't be humble. One of our problems is the humbleness of Sudanese. They are so humble. Saif, who left here, he got his master from LSE. LSE in economic in our area is one of the best schools worldwide. And I remember a professor from Maryland said to me, Allam, if someone from LSE comes to us in Maryland and he talk rubbish, we still clap for him. So you can see the amount. So we need the messages, the quality and the quantity, and also the quality of those who are diaspora is the best you can actually ask for. I don't think you will get more better. Muhammad working for, which is one of our leading company here. quality control and so on. So I think we will finish here.